But anyway, I've come out to chop down the rhubarb. I'm going to be making, or attempting to make, some rhubarb leather. And as you can see, this batch should have been picked a long time ago, and I don't really like rhubarb too much. But I've got my knife, I'm gonna keep all the good stuff. And there's loads here. And rhubarb leather really is a sweet candy. We'll see how it turns out, see how much sugar I need to add to it. As a chef, I would make it with gelatin. I'm not sure I've got any. So I'm just going to make it with sugar and the fruit. Now, as you can see, I've pretty much chopped it all down, and what I'm going to do is I'll put a dustbin on the top of it, and that will force new shoots to come through. And now that I've chopped it down, I can see whether it's worth splitting, and of course it's quite large, so that's what I aim to do at some point at the end of the season, is cut it in half and move it so we've got potentially twice as much next year. But I'll update you as I do it. Anyway, so I'm going to clean these up, and I'll see you in the kitchen. Right, so I'm back in the kitchen. What I'm going to do now is get the water on, ready to boil the crap out of these. I've already given them a quick wash, so what I'm going to do now is just chop them up. It doesn't matter how small or what size. Essentially, the smaller you chop them, the quicker they will cook. And what we're looking for is for this puree to be as thoroughly cooked as possible. And put it up high enough. Now, if I was going to be making it, I was going to add some gelatin to it, but unfortunately I haven't got any gelatin, so I'm going to do it without. Now, fruit leather, or in this instance rhubarb leather, is just a flat, sticky sweet. If you get it right, it works and it's lovely. It's easy to get it wrong, because if you're not using gelatin, you're basing it on what the fruit contains. I mean, for example, they put pectin into jam to help it set. I mean, some fruits have enough pectin on them, and you can buy sugar with pectin oil in it for jam making. But for me, that's an added ingredient that I don't think is needed. However, we are making fruit leather. And if it's too dry, then it can be unchewable. But we'll see. I'll show you how to make it. And all I've done is, you saw the bush that I chopped down. This is literally all of that from on there. And we'll see how well it comes out. And growing this stuff couldn't be easier. You plant it and you do nothing. I've had 3 crops one year from that bush. And I'll update you anyway as I'm going through the garden throughout the year, in that I'll show you how quick it grows. Right, anyway, this board looks knackered. I'll have to bin it and get another one. It's only a temporary tool. I'm midway through cleaning the kitchen, refurbing the kitchen and the boat, and this is the kitchen that's halfway through. Anyway, so I've now got it in the stove, on the stove in the pan. I'm not going to add any sugar yet because I don't want to run the risk of burning it whilst it's cooking. So it doesn't matter how long you cook it for. The lid's going on, and I'm just going to leave it to stew, and I'll come back to the next stage. Right, so the rhubarb's bubbling away. I'm going to grab my trusty blitzer, as I call it. And let me just adjust slightly. Let me just adjust, because I can't reach. It's a new kitchen. I'm redesigning, redeveloping it. So anyway. Give it a good blitz. Let's clean that off. Right, and I've got my trays. As you can see, they're lovely and clean. You know what trays are like. Anyway, so I've covered them in cling film for 2 reasons. 1, because the trays look minging. But 2, I don't want them to stick. Now I'm going to give... I've got some sugar. I have put some in. I'm going to give this a bit of a taste and see. I mean, the colour's rubbish. Right. But that's nice. But I'm going to bung in the rest of that sugar. Which will only take a little while to dissolve, but I will turn it up a tad. I'm going to throw a little bit of lemon juice in it, give it some acidity, and I'm going to chuck in just a little bit of salt, and I'm using natural rock salt, but for me it doesn't matter which salt you use, so long as you don't use that table shit. Called sodium chloride. It's made in a laboratory. Fuck all natural about it at all. So anyway, we'll give this a moment or two. To dissolve. So it's almost there. You can add anything you want to it in terms of flavours. Rhubarb isn't a very strong flavour. There's a couple of lumps in the sugar at the bottom of the bag. It's obviously a bag I'd had for some time in the back of the cupboard. But anyway, but like I said, this is the first time I've made this. And I'm going to, when I get to the shop, get some gelatin. But I just can't be asked to queue up because everybody's so in fear of this virus. They're all towing the line, doing as they're told. Just in case, I guess. Right, well that's all melted. Dissolved even. Once we come to the boil, and we're almost there. It's probably bubbling now. Probably ready now. I'm just looking at the consistency, okay? Can you see that? It's a naff colour, but that's alright, we're not worried about that. Saw a lump of sugar then. So I'm quite comfortable that that consistency is close to what I'm looking for. So all we're going to do now is pour the rhubarb straight into or onto the trays. So I'm going to move this out of the way so that I don't have to move the camera. I don't know how many trays I need. I've got 3 ready just in case. Now inevitably the thicker you pour it, the longer it's going to take to dry. I mean, that's not rocket science. So we'll start with this one so you can see a bit better. We're only looking at a few millimeters in terms of thickness, and that is producing a bubble. So I need a knife. Just to dab it so that it goes down. But the cling film is mainly so that it doesn't stick. And then just spread it out. You can give it a shake, it's probably easier. So we'll do the same now. Make a judgment. That's that. Let's just burst the bubble. Now this is about, I would say, 5 mil thick. But we are testing this to see if it works. Personally, I think it's going to be shit. Right, well we don't need that one, so that one can go. So there it is. Your 2 trays of hopefully rhubarb leather. Now the weather today is shit, otherwise I'd have put them outside, but my fire is on, my log burner, so I'm going to stick them on 2 shelves and I'll come back to you with stage, what stage are we at? 3? See you soon. So, here we are, final stage. Now, as you can see, it's not too bad a colour, it's not very thick, we'll see if it will come off, but and we'll roll it up and we'll see what we've got. So let me move that one. Now I've got a tray that I've covered in cling film. And let's see how well it comes off. Oh right, okay. That's coming off pretty well. It's a bit sticky underneath, which is a slight concern. So it would suggest that it's not dry enough. So what I'm going to do is, if I can, is take that off of there. No, I might as well, let me just plug this one if it doesn't all stick together. This is what you get, one of the problems when you work from the kitchen, as in a domestic kitchen. Anyway, let me unpeel that, and I'm going to throw it upside down like so, and unpeel the back to allow it to dry. Now, although it feels slightly sticky, it's not, yeah, you can feel it's wet. So I'm going to leave that one to air dry for a bit. It won't be dry enough, I wouldn't have thought, to do it for you guys now, but I'll look at the other one. I'm just going to stick a bit of cling film on this lovely clean tray. I need to get some Mr. Muscle or something. Oven spray. Hey, Mr. Muscle, I'm advertising your product. Monetize me, please. And look, my cling film got a hole in it. Anyway, problem solved. Right, there we go, one dirty tray suddenly clean. So let's swap around and see if I can work with this one, because this one for sure is a bit thinner. So like I said, the thickness will dictate in the first instance how chewy it might be, but of course it will affect and dictate how quick or slow it dries. Now, as you can, well, it's not too bad. I don't know if you can see through that. Right, so let's get rid of that tray. Bring that one closer, because now I've got to chop it up. Now I'll put that back there. I'll move this to here, see if I can take it off. Now, I need to grab a knife. I need some sugar. So let's see. Right, okay. I like this. This is looking pretty good. So let's try and do something else. Right, I've got myself a clean cloth. Okay. And like I've said, I've not made this thing before. I thought it would need gelatin, but we'll see how it goes. It is definitely peeling, and relatively easily. So if I'd done it on the tray, I would have had no chance of getting it off. So cling film is absolutely necessary. So you just have to do, and I'm not being that gentle with it. It seems quite leathery. Oh, right, so that's coming off. So right, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get some sugar, and I'm going to sprinkle this clean cloth with granulated sugar. Now, you can, if you want, flavour the sugar. You can even buy the sour stuff. But this is just pure 100% rhubarb with sugar and lemon. So anyway, right, so we're going to push that down into the sugar, which hopefully will allow me to handle it a bit better. So I'll just continue to peel all that off whilst it's on the tray, on the cloth. Right, look at that. Quick wash of my hands. And then what I'm going to do is roll it up. Now there are no rules as to how you roll it up. So I'm going to start it by a fold, actually. Get rid of all the dodgy ends. And then once you've got it all semi-started, I'll turn this actually around. I should have worked the other way, but anyway. Let's see if I can get that started, as I have there. And just roll. Let me keep it flat. Yep, and we just roll like so. Now let me get a quick chopping board. So we'll place that onto there. Now it's just not quite tight enough at the end. Right. So there we have the rhubarb on a roll. I'm going to cut that end, which I'm going to taste any moment. Let me see which other knife, sorry, is best. Right, this serrated one isn't too bad. But this is quite tough. Now look at these sweets. Right. Don't they look wonderful? And you can see how leathery they are. Now I don't really like rhubarb, certainly not in a crumble. But it's seasonal, it's in the garden, and most of all, it's free. Right? Because what does this cost? A little bit of electricity, a little bit of gas, a bit of sugar. And if I was to leave these for a bit longer to air dry from this situation, then I think they would be even better. But let's have a taste. Right, well, there's a little bit too much sugar, as in the granulated stuff. But look at that. How fantastic is that looking? They look a bit black, a bit dark. They taste absolutely nothing like rhubarb. But there's the other one. It's a bit thicker, and that's probably good enough to roll. So bear with me, and I'm going to attempt to roll this one without the sugar. It's a bit thicker. It has actually dried out a little bit just in them few minutes. So this one's probably won't be as neat as the last one, or even as tight, because, well, we'll see. Now the key thing is to make sure that this is dry enough to be able to store them. To get the exact figures, and I haven't got a way of testing it, but I think if it's more than 15% moisture or water, then it will just rot. But don't quote me on that. So this one will obviously taste the same because it's the same batch. Now, as you can see, this one's stickier, but I'm going to do this one, like I said, or I'm doing this one without the additional sugar, the crunch. And you can see that that one's just, it's too soft, right? Okay, but I'm going to continue to cut it and lay it up because I can allow it some additional drying time. But what a fabulous sweet that you and your children can make together. You can take them in the garden, start showing them how to grow stuff, and indeed what to do with it once you have grown it. And there we have it. Yes, not the neatest in the world. I'm not in a commercial kitchen. I'm in my boat kitchen, and as I've explained, oh, that's lovely. Look at that, look. That's why they call it leather. Chewy, chewy. So, thanks for watching, and all season I'm going to be preserving foods, growing foods, and showing you how easy it is to live without the system. Take care till the next time.